So I haven't really posted anything up in a while. It's been really hectic with work and also with having to head out of town and the like. But since I last left you guys, a lot of things have happened, so I wanted to catch up a bit. So I'm going to be putting out a lot of videos today. Just heads up, since it's July 4th, there's a lot of firecrackers and stuff going on in the background. I thought maybe it's not a good idea to tape then. I thought, it's July 4th, so it's only appropriate. It's going on. Seems someone shooting some stuff off in the back alley behind my window, so I say party on. Before I get into a lot of the stuff that's been going on with regards to the Supreme Court, and then the events in New York with the primary, and then also I wanted to talk a little bit, a couple of other things kind of that link those together. That'll be in another video post tonight. I wanted to just talk a little about July 4th. So I've been thinking about this a lot actually today, and just thinking about how I saw July 4th when I was a kid, how I felt about it. It was always one of my favorite holidays because of the fireworks and everything, and at those times I would be out in LA, and well, summer in California is always a fun time. So I always enjoyed it, and I always had a lot of patriotism and pride. But the last few years, that's obviously matured as I read more, as I learned more about history, things that maybe you don't learn in school. And I find myself asking a lot of times, is it okay to celebrate? Should I be ashamed? And the issue comes up, even I heard on the radio, some woman was practically in tears saying, I can't understand how people would say they're ashamed of their country, and how offended she was by it, which I thought at the time was kind of ridiculous, honestly. But I think you can reconcile. So I still think that woman thinking that way is totally closed-minded and not understanding. It'd be very easy to figure out how someone would say something like, "Goddamn America," or "I'm ashamed for my country," or things like that, if you go in and read the history and find out or look at things from other people's point of views. But at the same time, you can also look and see the good. So there's a lot of admirable things that we have in our society, in our country, that we should be proud of. And there's a lot of noble freedoms and the like. So I've never been keen to saying I'm ashamed of my country. I'm ashamed of some of the actions in the country. In fact, many of the actions in my country. And the flip side would be, even I've seen people talking about kneeling during the national anthem, of course, and all that, and people get offended. And I say, you shouldn't get offended about that. For me, even saying that, and something really crystallized it well for me. I saw a quote from James Baldwin, essentially. I don't remember the quote exactly, but paraphrasing, basically saying, I love this country more than America, more than any other. I love America the most, and that's why I fight that I can criticize it. Paraphrasing, he said it much more eloquently than I ever could, but and that's true. What is patriotism? Is patriotism having a flag lapel that they would bitch about Obama not having one? Is it about standing during a national anthem? Or is it something more? Is it something deeper? And that's where I came to. I said, the notion that I can criticize my country, I can say I want to change the system. That was a good one. Change the system that I want to, not necessarily the democracy part, but change the oligarchy aspect that is coming in, the neoliberal aspect, and changing the money in politics and kind of the Republicans in power. The idea that I don't have to, pick up arms and go and do that. I can do it electorally. And that's the beauty of the Constitution. That's the forward-looking aspect of the Constitution, for all its very clear and undisputable flaws. And certainly not here to defend the founding fathers for, many of their flaws, most notably slavery, but also the treatment of Native Americans, treatment of of women, of non-landowners. There is a lot of criticism that can be doled out. But this idea is there is a path to altering the government in a political fashion. And that's a beautiful thing when you think about it. Because that's not common everywhere. Some places, if you want to, go against the system, there's only one option, and that's putting your life on the line. Now, it's not to say that never happens here. Obviously, through history, that's happened here. But the ideals, I've talked about this before, the ideals of the country, I think, of what many of us want to get to is good. But unfortunately, we're nowhere near there. And I think that's where you have the problem. Like I was talking about this woman on the radio, or these people who get really offended when it comes to kneeling during the national anthem. They need to open their mind and realize, just because someone's criticizing, that does not mean anti-American. This was something since 9/11, I think, one of the worst reactions. In a sense, we let the terrorists win that, but it's not only a post 9/11 thing either. I mean, when you look back to World War I, II, really any time there's war, there's a fear of speaking out against it. There's a fear of criticizing because it's taken as meaning, that you don't support the troops, that you want America to lose. It's not. And when in reality, it's not got nothing to do with that. It's wanting to criticize to help because, you have to criticize these things. You have to be honest. If you're not, then what's the point? I've used the example before. If I have a friend and, they're, injecting themselves with heroin, I'm not going to tell them keep doing it. You got to tell them, no, stop, intervene, because that's what you do because you care about your friend. And just like I care about my country, I want it to be better. So my criticisms can be harsh, but they're for a reason, because I believe we can be so much better. I mean, you think of what we have at our feet, the resources in this country, the diversity, the different people, the different perspectives. You can go from sea to shining sea and, get so many cultures and exposure. And that's a beautiful thing about America. But some people now want to take that away, led by the white supremacists in the White House. They want to take that away. They want to fight against that. And they want to use that. He wants to use that racism to attack America, really. And again, Trump's not the first, and I hope I'm wrong, but he probably won't be the last. But we have to be just honest. So my feeling really, long story short, on 4th of July is, I think you got to celebrate to your liking. It's good to be a patriot. It's good to be proud of your country. But there's also no shame in being ashamed of your country and be willing to criticize the actions of the government, the actions of certain people. And that's how we become better. So in that sense, the most patriotic thing I feel I can do is keep criticizing and hope, me and many other people can keep criticizing, keep at it, that we can get good people in office. And I'll be talking about that in my later videos, getting good people in office. So that's all I have to say about that. Happy 4th of July to everybody. And hoping next 4th of July things will be better. And that's all I have to say about that.